In a world where the echoes of ambition ring through every crowded street and marketplace, where the promise of wealth glitters just out of reach for so many, two young men stood shoulder to shoulder at the edge of their futures. Their names were Elara and Kael. Each was driven by a hunger, a yearning to make something of themselves, to grasp at the elusive concept of success. Yet even from the very beginning, their dreams diverged like rivers flowing from the same mountain, seeking their own destinies. Elara's eyes burned with the fire of ambition. He was the type who could already see skyscrapers where others saw empty lots. In every coin, he saw a seed for a fortune. Success to him was a number, a balance sheet, a ledger of wins, a portfolio exploding with growth. He dreamed of the day when everything he touched would turn to gold, and he would sit atop his empire, a modern-day king of numbers. Kael, on the other hand, moved through the world with a quieter confidence. He too wanted prosperity, but he saw it in technicolor, not just black and white. For Kael, wealth was a peaceful home, laughter echoing from room to room, the contentment that comes from a meaningful day's work. He dreamed of deep roots and unbreakable bonds, of a life well lived rather than a fortune well made. Today on Money Talks Daily, we invite you into their story, a tale not just about riches, but about the very question that haunts us all. What is the true definition of wealth? Elara launched himself headlong into the chase. He believed with every fiber of his being that time was money and that money was everything. He devoured books on finance, strategy, and the habits of the world's richest. He learned how to trade, how to invest, how to spot opportunity in every shadow. His days were a blur of meetings, market trends, and calculated risks. He saw his bank account swell, his reputation grow. People started to talk. Elara, the man with the Midas touch. But as the zeros piled up, so did the sacrifices. Elara rushed through meals, barely tasting the food in his mouth. He missed family gatherings, his phone silent in his pocket as calls went unanswered. He chased the next big thing relentlessly, convinced that just a little more would be enough. He bought penthouses overlooking the city, drove the sleekest cars, wore watches that told more than just the time. They told the world he had arrived. Yet every night, he returned to a grand, echoing house that felt more like a vault than a home. The silence was deafening. He was surrounded by treasures, but none could fill the growing void inside him. The more he acquired, the more elusive fulfillment seemed. His friends became fewer, their laughter replaced by the cold hum of machines counting his money. Meanwhile, Kael carved his own path, one less obsessed with accumulation and more attuned to cultivation. He respected money, understood its power, but he saw it as a means, never the end. Kael apprenticed himself to a craftsman, learning to shape wood with his hands, to coax life from the soil. He built things that lasted, invested in skills that brought real value to the world. Kael's home was modest but filled with warmth. He spent lazy afternoons teaching his children to whittle or plant seeds in the backyard. He helped neighbors repair fences, volunteered at the local school, and organized community dinners where stories and laughter flowed more freely than wine. His financial growth was slow, steady, and sustainable. A gentle curve, not a wild spike. But his true fortune was measured in moments. Bedtime stories, shared sunsets, the trust and affection of those around him. Kael's wealth could not be counted in bank statements or stock options. It was found in the comfort of a loving spouse's embrace, the pride in his children's eyes, the gratitude of a friend in need. His life was full, not because he had everything, but because he valued what he had. Years slipped by, as they always do. Time, that great equalizer, carried both men along their chosen paths. And then, one day, fate brought Elara and Kael together again. Elara arrived in a sleek black car, stepping out with the slow, measured confidence of a man who had seen it all. His suit was crisp, his watch gleamed in the afternoon sun, but his eyes were shadowed, weighed down by the burdens of relentless pursuit. He looked around, taking in the simple beauty of Kael's home, the handmade swing in the yard, the laughter of children playing tag, the smell of fresh bread wafting from the kitchen. Kael greeted him with a warm smile, his face lined not with worry, but with joy. His family gathered around, eager to hear stories and share a meal. Elara found himself drawn to the easy camaraderie, the genuine affection that seemed to fill every corner of Kael's life. He watched Kael's children race to hug their father, saw the pride and love in Kael's eyes, and felt a pang of something he hadn't felt in years: envy. As the evening wore on, Elara couldn't help but reflect. He had spent his life accumulating wealth, chasing the next deal, the next conquest. He had the world at his feet, but as he looked around Kael's table, he realized that he had been missing something fundamental. In his pursuit of gold, he had overlooked the treasures that money could never buy. That night, Elara lay awake, turning over the pieces of his life, the faces of old friends, the laughter of family, the moments he had traded away for just one more victory. For the first time, he wondered if he had been searching for the wrong kind of gold all along. The realization hit him with the force of a revelation. True wealth wasn't just about accumulation, but about contribution. It wasn't measured in what you had, but in what you gave, what you built, and who you became. From that moment on, Elara's life began to change. He still had his fortune, still commanded respect in the world of business, but his priorities shifted. He started to see his wealth not as an end, but as a beginning, a tool to create real, lasting value in the world. He poured his resources into projects that mattered, founding schools in underserved neighborhoods, funding hospitals that saved lives, creating opportunities for young entrepreneurs who reminded him of himself once upon a time. He invested in people, in ideas, in hope. And slowly, the light began to return to his eyes. Elara found joy not in the numbers on a screen, but in the smiles of children whose lives were changed, in the gratitude of communities lifted up. His wealth became more than just a measure of success. It became a legacy. Kael, for his part, continued to live as he always had. He watched his children grow, passing on the values of kindness, hard work, and integrity. His home remained a beacon of warmth and welcome, a place where friends and neighbors could always find comfort. The seeds he had planted, both literal and metaphorical, grew into a life of abundance. As both men grew older, their legacies took shape. Elara's name was etched on buildings, his generosity remembered by those he helped. But Kael's legacy was woven into the fabric of his community, in the lives he touched directly, in the love and respect of his family and friends. In the end, both men found wealth, but the difference lay in what they valued. Elara found meaning in what he gave, the transformation of his fortune into something greater than himself. Kael found wealth in the life he lived, in the depth of his relationships and the satisfaction of a well-spent day. Their story asks us to reflect. What does it really mean to be rich? Is it found in the pursuit of more or in the contentment of enough? Is it in the castle on the hill or the home filled with love and laughter? True wealth, as this tale reveals, is about balance. Money is a powerful tool, one that can build or destroy, uplift or isolate. It's not the enemy, nor is it the answer to every question. Rather, it's what we do with it, how we use it to shape our lives and the lives of those around us, that defines its true value. Real wealth is the friend who shows up when you're in trouble, the family that gathers around the table, the purpose that gets you out of bed in the morning. It's the peace that comes from knowing you've made a difference, however small, in the world. So as you go about your own journey, chasing dreams, building your future, remember the lessons of Elara and Kael. Don't let the pursuit of money become the pursuit of your life. Invest in your skills, yes, but also in your relationships, your health, your community. Seek out purpose, cultivate gratitude, and measure your success not just in dollars, but in moments, in memories, in meaning. Be an alchemist. Turn your resources, whatever they are, into something beautiful and lasting. Let your legacy be one of both prosperity and purpose. This is the heart of true wealth. Thank you for joining us on Money Talks Daily. If this story resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on what wealth means in your own life. Like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What are the treasures you cherish most? How do you define success? Remember, the richest life is the one lived with intention, connection, and heart. Until next time, keep seeking, keep building, and remember, money talks, but true wealth sings.